Hi all. In the previous video, we have created a GitHub repository and pushed our initial code to the repository. Now imagine there is a student A who initially created the repository and pushed the code. Now there is another student named student B who wants to pull the code from the repository. As we have created a private repository, we do have to send an invitation to student B in order to allow that particular student to collaborate in that code base. Now let's open GitHub and send the invitation to another user. So let's go to settings, collaborators, and write down the username. Yep. So let's add the collaborator. So when you click on add the collaborator, an email has been sent to this particular user's email ID, and that user has to accept the invitation in order to collaborate. So now let's refresh the page to see whether other user has already accepted or not. So now as you can see this in this list, a particular user is added. That means the other user has already accepted the invitation to collaborate. Now let's copy the GitHub URL, GitHub repository link so that we can clone this project for student B. So let's go here and let's open Git extensions again so that we can clone the same project for student B this time. So we want to clone the repository. So as before, we have to choose the destination folder. This time I'm gonna choose student B. So all looks good. I'm gonna click on clone. This time I'm going to add student B's account details. So all looks good. Now let's check if we are successful in cloning the project for student B or not. So here we go. Yes, as we can see, here are all the files which are there in the GitHub repository which was pushed by student A. Now the same files are available for student B. Now let's suppose student B has to work on login functionality and student A has to work on dashboard functionality. I have already opened the project on Eclipse. So the right side represents student B. Open the Eclipse, and on my left, student A open the same project, and student B has to work on login functionality. So let's create a class called login.java. So in this class, student B might have added some method called public void authenticate user. And as student A has to work on dashboard functionality, let's add a class here and name it dashboard.java. Let's create a similar function. So I'm just gonna copy paste it in here, and I'll call it dashboard. Now both the students has made some changes in their local systems, and they both have to commit the code to the remote repository. The best way to commit the code now is to create a separate branch for each functionality so that we can avoid merge conflicts as much as possible. Now let's open the Git extension tool. Right now we are at student B's repository. Let's create a branch here. Right click, click on create new branch. I'm gonna name it login_feature. Looks good. So now we are in login_feature branch. We are not in master branch, as you can see. So now we will be committing our code into login_feature branch. So let's stage everything. And I'm gonna add a comment, let's say login feature. Add it. So I'm gonna do commit and push here. So yes, we do have to push this branch to the remote, because we have just created the branch in local system. We do have to push it to the remote repository. So all looks good. Our new branch is created and the login code is now pushed into login_feature branch. Now let's open student A's repository and we will be creating a branch named dashboard this time. So right click, click on create new branch. I'm gonna name it dashboard_feature, create branch. And the branch is now created at the local system, but we do have to push it further to the remote. So let's click on commit and stage the files which we have to push into this branch. Dashboard feature. So let's commit and push together. Yes, we're gonna transfer this local branch to the remote. And yes, we need a tracking reference. So all looks good. Now student A has created a dashboard branch and committed the dashboard feature into a dashboard branch. Now as student A and student B has completed their respective features, they do want to merge their branch with the master branch, which is actually the main branch where all the working code will reside. So now let's open our master branch here. So basically we are checking out the master branch here. And yes, so now we're gonna pull the code from the dashboard branch. So we can select a remote branch here. Now I want to pull the code from dashboard feature branch into my master branch. I'm into my master branch at the moment, as you can see. So let's pull the code. So we have now pulled the code from the dashboard branch into our master branch. Yes, all looks good. Similarly, student B also wants to merge its login functionality branch, login feature branch, with the master branch. So right now we are in student B's repository and we are checking out the master branch. Okay, so we're into master branch now and we will be pulling the code from the login branch. Sorry, login feature branch. Let's pull the code. Okay, so now student B has also merged his branch called login branch with the master branch. So now everything is at the master branch, but at the local end. So that means we do have to push our master branch code to the master branch which is there in the repository at the server. So let's do it now. Click on push. And we are pushing from master to master. All looks good. So now student A will first pull the code which is pushed by student B into his master branch. So let's do it. Let's click on pull. We do have to pull from master, so by default it's master. Okay, so let's click OK. So now student A has got all the code of student B, but now he has to send his master code to the master level as well. So let's click on push. And yes, this time we will be pushing the code from master to master. All looks good. So now everything is at master, but student B still has to take the code of student A. So let's do it now. We are into student B. Let's pull the code from the master. So by default it's master. Okay, so now both the students got all the code with them. So let's verify this. Let's check. Okay, I'm opening student A. Here, student A's project. So let's go in. And as you can see, there is all the code, dashboard and login functionality, both are now with student A. Now let's confirm whether student B got all the code or not. So let's quickly go in here. And yes, even student B has got all the code. I think that's all for this video now. Thank you very much.